SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the iGaming Daily Podcast. We're bringing this to you from the last day of ICE. We're just going to do a bit of a recap of the event so far, what our experience of it has been. Of course, before I get into the meat of the conversation, I should mention that this podcast is brought to you by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. So as I said, we're here live from the last day of ICE. It's been pretty busy. We had the SBC Barcelona baby party last night, and I'm joined today by Ted Menmuir, SBC News editor, I should say, and making his podcast debut live from ICE, Beel from the SBC media marketing team, and I'm Ted Orme-Claye, one of the other SBC editors. Should also add that it was Ted Menmuir's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Ted. 22 years young,
Thank you.
Looking fresh as ever.
Yes. I'm wearing the sunglasses. We look like we're live at the kind of Brit Awards backstage, and I'm waiting for my birthday cake. But I think the important thing is that, guys, we're freshening up and we're bringing in new blood. Stepping up, Mr. Joe Beel.
I know, what an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. I feel like I've been on the back end of things for so long that it's kind of come full circle finally. I've worked on 400 odd of these and now I'm finally in front. And it doesn't make any sense.
Add to that.
It's great to be here. It's fantastic.
Andrew and Raz, they've got a very kind of Guardiola Catalan philosophy. It's like
I know,
the messiah of podcasting.
I feel like an under-18s player finally getting his first team debut.
Right, so I mean, I'll start with you, Joe. How have you found ICE Barcelona?
So it's sort of a little bit different for me from, I guess, what you guys would experience. I'm sort of situated at the SBC media desk for most of my time, and a lot of what I do is kind of intuitive. So a lot of people kind of walking past the stand, asking questions about, our products, what we do, how we can help them, that sort of thing. It's been really interesting. We've been put into a really interesting area here in Media City, where it's kind of like a main strip here. Everyone seems to walk through and everyone seems to be able to catch eyes with us, and we've had a lot of traffic, so it's been really good. Yeah,
it's been quite positive to see, hasn't it? And I think I've noticed as well quite a few people expressing a lot of interest in the new iGaming expert brand as well, I think, following our relaunch of that, and obviously the change around for the SBC Summit in Malta. So that's been quite positive to see. I think we've had quite a good chance for us to really showcase what we're doing there, and then for Joe Streeter to put his face onto that, as well as obviously the lead on that one. Ted, what about you? I can imagine you've been here, there, and everywhere for the past couple of days.
Oh, don't remind me. I mean, it's funny because every time ICE changes, you kind of reflect on the past, and I actually agree with Joe. One thing that stands out now is the importance of the media. I think when SBC started, there was about 5 media stands. I think now you're looking at about more than 100 now. It's even got its own section within a big hall next to sports betting. And then the other thing that I'm catching from going to the halls, I've been to all halls apart from the land-based one. I just haven't had time yet. So that's my mission today. But especially in Hall 5 with the sports betting and payments, I think you're kind of seeing a diversification of units and of offering. And the other thing is very much kind of the rearrangement of how they're presenting kind of core platforms and services to the industry. So that kind of caught the eye a lot. I think the way they're speaking about their products is changing. And especially I think that's being kind of driven by the need for kind of new markets and also kind of the new functions that are coming in with crypto and a new generation of customers.
Yeah, solid breakdown there.
What about you, Ted? What have you been up to, mate? What have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to? Well, obviously, as from a beat on payment expert, I've been mainly going around a lot of the payment stands. As Ted said, there's been quite a lot of visibility for crypto at this. I mean, there is at most ICEs, but it's been quite noticeable here, and it's quite an interesting time for that sector as well, with obviously the new the second Trump administration coming in the US.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of some of the conversations I've been having. A lot of people are very maybe excited or like eager to keep an eye on it, because the value of the sector went up so much after his election. It's going to be interesting to see what policies he brings in, how that impacts it, and potentially what knock-on effect that could have on gaming. Ted, I can see you want to add your 2 cents here.
I mean, it's weird because, you come to these conferences and it is kind of a bubble scenario, and you forget that the world is going on. But it's amazing how things change from day one to day two after the administration, and after he actually mentioned crypto. I mean, there was kind of a perk on that, and even walking around the iGaming stands and the sports betting stands, everyone was reflecting on, did you see what happened in Washington? And how I think no one can it's too early to kind of really pinpoint at, is it a game changer or not? But something definitely is in the air, and it has been driven by kind of outside elements. So that can kind of create an impact, a trade show, yeah.
Something else I've noticed in some of my conversations around crypto as well is, I think we often just look at the interaction between crypto and gaming. On the face of it, you just think of, right, people placing bets with crypto, people paying into accounts with crypto. But it does go beyond that a bit, and kind of there have been some conversations about just what blockchain technology can do in the industry without the element of crypto in there, like how it can be used for the ledgers and player tracking and things like that. So there's even outside of the talk around Donald Trump and what impact that could have on cryptocurrency, it's interesting that the blockchain technology that underpins that, there's still interest in what other uses we can find for that as well.
It's definitely like a live subject. One of the things that I picked up is, look, it's been at the back of the minds of people, how will blockchain and crypto come out? But I also think that part of that subject has kind of been hijacked by the bad aspects of crypto. There is negativity in the industry, especially when it comes to meme coins, shit coins. I don't think it gets helped by kind of Elon pushing that stuff. There are bad actors, bad general actors in that industry, but there is good underlying technology. And I think that hopefully this year we get to a better place where we can kind of start to individually look at those technologies and see their viability, see their utility for the industry. And again, I think that's what's kind of been driving kind of this change of view in the industry, but also kind of changing the vision to the prospects of what might actually happen this year. I don't know, Ted. I mean, I think just everything seems just up in the air about the big decisions.
Yeah, I think that's. I find it hard to disagree with that. I mean, outside of the crypto stuff, though, Ted, what have been some of the bigger talking points around sports betting and the sportsbook side of things? What have you picked up from that? Okay,
so it seems like in 2024, a lot of resources were put back into kind of rethinking live betting and innovation, and also that I think that a lot of suppliers and a lot of technology platforms came back saying, like, we can no longer just push the same stuff. Make one or two tweaks. Talk about kind of automation, talk about gamification, right? I mean, those words have been around for that. And now I think that they're going back to building, very kind of comprehensive technology. So one of the things I saw yesterday, which I think is going to really flip the market, and my God, it's a big product to launch. It's going to be Genius Sports' Fan Hub. And just that, what it's bringing to the mobile single case mobile viewing for live sports betting. And they've said that they've launched it and they're on betas in the NFL. The returns have been breaking. And I tell anyone, just, go to that stand, have a 5-minute play on that product, and you kind of see where the next kind of phase of live interaction with sports betting is going to move to, where the player kind of just demands more information to make his bet, but it has to be kind of integrated and engaged with the audience. That's going to be my kind of one to watch product. this year.
Do you think that's kind of going to be the future of how sports betting goes? Like, is that the trajectory of it, where operators are going to be having to find a way to bridge the gap more between betting and it's like regular sports consumption, sports media consumption?
You see, I think the paradigms, I'm not sure if Joe agrees with me on this, but what we're seeing is the tech companies are paying much more to get exclusivity on the tech and to use these exclusive data partnerships, APIs, these rights, right, to create kind of better products. And I think that's where kind of likes of Genius and Sports Radar, their battleground is. We paid a shed load of millions for the PGA, for the WTA. Now let's make some really good like front-end products, because there's been too many kind of like rip and runs where just people kind of just take, the cheaper product, right? And they can't live in these same terms anymore. So I think they're going now much more towards exclusivity. And you see it on the floor that what they're pushing are, they'll spend more on making the technology, but they want kind of a better partnership. And I think they'll agree to kind of tighter terms because we paid for that. Joe, what do you make of that?
I think as much as the technological advances are really important in the industry, I do kind of look at it, especially myself, from a more consumer perspective. What would I want? What would I envisage being able to use? I think ease of use is important. I think being able to move across platforms. I think being able to move across different applications. And obviously, I think there's a bit of and you might be able to correct me on this, Ted, there's a lot for people moving between mobile and desktop as well as using slots or whatever they do as well. So I think having multi-platform, and I think the ease of use would be the most important thing for me to consider.
LeanOn is an iGaming SaaS provider that helps operators launch their businesses in minutes within an easy-to-use environment. During ICE Barcelona, LeanOn will showcase the auction of 3 websites starting from €499 and the exclusive, fully operating casino website for only €5,000. Make sure to visit LeanOn at their stand during ICE Barcelona to find out more.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to note there, Joe. With I guess way to refer to be the omni-channel experience. I guess it's finding ways to seamlessly bridge the gaps between the different verticals the industry has. Obviously, from my side of things, payments is quite a big part of that. Although I'm having a conversation later today about some of this sort of stuff with Nuve, and I'm kind of interested in hearing their perspective on, as the industry becomes increasingly digitized and more online driven, how is that going to take the emphasis away from like the sort of retail side of the omnichannel divide? I don't know, Ted.
I just like to add, we're here at a conference and it's been a big change. It's moved from London to Barcelona. That's been kind of the headline here. But what I'm kind of getting back now is, we're divided, we're split into different halls for different sections. But one of the things that's definitely having an impact, it's what region you're targeting. And I think it's true for sports betting. I think it's true for gaming solutions. But it's also very true for payments. And I'm just kind of thinking, do you think that a conference should be split not necessarily by product, but more by region? Wouldn't that make more sense? Because we're now kind of getting much more targeting towards the African market, LATAM. I mean, you could build a whole hall for Brazil.
Yeah.
What would you make of that?
I think that would be quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, SBC, our events have traditionally, often quite focused on a different region per event. Like we've got SBC Summit Rio is our next one. From 25th to 27th of February. Obviously, as the name suggests, that's focusing on Brazil and the wider Latin American sort of market. And yeah, you're right. There are various different companies that have a specific focus, a specific speciality in one region. Whether it's the traditional bookmakers in Europe who want to keep their podium spots there, the newcomers in America who've really exploded over the past, not 10 years, since 2018, since PASPA. And then, a lot of companies who are now looking at getting involved in Latin America. I mean, there's a huge amount of people who were interested in Brazil, wasn't there? Well over 100 people submitted applications for licenses under the new regime, didn't they? So, I mean, from your conversations, Ted, do you think, has that been... I know we've almost been talked it to death over the past year, but has Brazil and Latin America been the big one?
I've been in kind of discussions with Andy this week, with partners, and kind of their dedication of just targeting one market and being the best there. And, we tend to kind of think, yes, iGaming and payments, they're globalized worlds, but you forget that businesses are businesses. And if you're top of a region, you tend to want to kind of stay there and build your platforms and build kind of your value chain towards serving a specific customer. So, again, I think gaming, or the media side of gaming, is always going to build by kind of very simple narratives of localization, omni-channel. But actually, when you kind of drill down, it's very kind of complicated business partnerships that have incredible kind of interplays between the companies, but also that have structures, critical structures, which they have to maintain and they have to kind of respect. So I think that's something that we might pitch. We have to kind of look at how do you get a fair representation of what continent you're in across kind of your portfolio or across your management of a conference. Yeah.
What I will say about sitting at the media stand for the last couple of days is that the array of people that have come up and spoken to me from different regions has actually been really interesting. We have had guys come up from representing the African market. We have had a lot of people come up asking about LATAM. We've had people come over, from the States, and they're asking about what's the next up-and-coming market, what's the most underrepresented market, or something like that. So I think from that perspective, and especially at a place like ICE, where it is so vast and there are so many people here, you are representing people, but you just need to make sure that you are catering to them as well. You need to make sure that you are offering them things that are applicable to their region. So an African market or an African company will not be looking for anything as sophisticated as a European market will. So we get asked about, newsletter products. We get asked about, website products. We don't get asked about, higher tech things that we offer. We don't get asked about that. And then, when you move on to Brazil, it's a little bit higher up. When you come up to Europe, it's a little bit higher up. So as long as you're aware that these people are here and you do need to cater to them as well, then I think you have all the tools here to serve it.
I think the African markets in particular are very interesting. I've always found them particularly interesting to follow. Latin America, obviously, like we've said, it's sort of exploded to the forefront of conversation lately. But again, from my beat on payments, I find those particularly interesting because of how much appetite there is for alternative payment methods in these markets, and it's very different to what we've experienced in like Western Europe, where debit and credit cards are still sort of the leading form of payments and things like that.
I'm going to say something quite controversial.
Go on.
I think payments is going to be hot this year. I literally think payments might be sexy, Ted. Like, as in, it's a process that you're going to need to get right to launch in new markets. Yes, there's still kind of those very kind of competitive dynamics, those pricing dynamics that always come into play. But honestly, like, getting your right kind of payment structure right this year for launches in Peru, Brazil, Mexico, if you have those ambitions and you don't get your payments right, it's going to be a wide point of failure. And actually, I think it benefits payments. It wants to kind of be a point of kind of critical disruption, adoption. It must be that. So that would be my take. I think payments is going to be sexy in 2025.
There you go. There's our tagline. Yeah. 2025 is
sentences no one ever said.
Bringing sexy back to payments. We love it. I think we're coming to the close of this, but just to start wrapping things up, obviously we've got SBC, you've got a pretty packed event schedule as always over the rest of the year. Like I said, we've got Rio coming up next month. We'll have the new look Malta conference. We'll have our Americas one, combining the former New York event and the former Miami event into one big super event in Florida. And of course, we'll have Lisbon in September. What do you guys, this is speaking very generally here, what do you think are going to be some of sort of the biggest talking points going on from there? Do you reckon it's going to be similar to ICE, or are we going to have some other interesting ones coming in?
I think, from speaking to a couple of people, I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens with Brazil. I think a lot of people are, funnily enough, talking about Finland. And I think a lot of it as well, like you said, with America there and the crypto side of things, I think there's a little bit of optimism / anxiety about not knowing what's going to happen. So I think we're just going to have to see how it unfolds.
I think crypto is going to be a buzzword throughout this year. I think it's won it pretty much from, pretty much took over on Monday. I think the speculation is going to be rife till about September, until about the time they present some kind of bill, kind of settling regulation. And I think that's not even going to calm it down. So that's going to send it in another wave. But, gaming always goes on. I think in Europe, we went through kind of a period of resolution. It's now time to see how the operators kind of react to the new terms of play, especially in the UK, Italy, Sweden and the Netherlands. And Brazil, man, we've got to see what comes out. There's 89 brands have launched the market. I think it's always the same play. You soon find out who the real challengers are and who's got kind of market share. So that will kind of come around in the summer. And I think we'll have a very different agenda coming into the latter conferences of 2025. So the SBCs and the Sigmas. It's gaming. It's always up in the air, and you're always waiting for it to land. It's just how it lands. Yeah.
One extra thing that I will say, and I'm going to plug some media marketing here. We are going to be talking about everything compliance, crypto, LATAM, Brazil, anything you can think of on our digital days throughout the year. So keep an eye out for those as they come through, because they will be very topical. They'll be exploring everything right as it happens, essentially. So keep an eye out for those.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. I think that's two very good points to leave it on. Yeah, plenty of things for us to keep an eye out throughout the year. SBC events, both physical ones and the online webinars. Like you say, Joe, we've got plenty of those lined up. And please keep an eye out for more episodes of iGaming Daily and for the content on our different sites. So, Ted, Joe, thanks very much for joining me today, guys. And we'll see you all on the next episode of iGaming Daily.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.